Our first guest speaker is Jeff Wood. Jeff is the director of Ford's North America Truck Region. Jeff is responsible for the Dearborn Truck Plant, Ohio Assembly, Kentucky Truck Plant, Louisville Assembly, Kansas City, and the Twin Cities Assembly Plant. Please welcome Jeff Wood.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see the crowd. I wish we were here on different circumstances, but it is great to see so many of the family here together. OJ, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for letting me be part of this event today. On behalf of Ford Motor, I'd like to thank all the media, the VIP guests for joining us today on this final visit to Twin Cities. Unfortunately, we're a couple weeks away from the final Ranger rolling off the line. And it'll be hard to get through today's speech because this is family for all of us. Today is a very important day for us. Today we want to take the opportunity to acknowledge the hundreds of men and women who work here, for all who have supported this operation for the community, as well as for the men and women that have come and gone in the past and always supported the Twin Cities. We saw the hands of many retirees in here, so thank you for coming back and being part of this. Today also brings a unique opportunity to acknowledge the great history of the Twin City Assembly Plant. This operation has gone through many transformations over the last 86 years, as many of you know. Many may not realize, but the Twin Cities has been, and Ford has been, a core fabric of the community long before the current plant was constructed. Our presence began in 1912, 99 years ago, when about 100 employees built the Model Ts on an assembly line on South 3rd Street in Minneapolis. After that, another branch had been opened in 1914 at 5th Street and 5th Avenue, where production of the Model Ts continued. We produce many products here beyond the personal use vehicles. As most of you know, until recently, we had a hydroelectric plant connected to the facility, which harnessed the power from the Great Mississippi. A steam power station was constructed in 1925 for auxiliary source of power. And then in 1926, the plant began producing glass from silica from mines that are below this operation as we speak. There was also an important time in our history when we did contribute to the war efforts. The facility for personal use vehicles was halted, and we began building war machines to support our troops. In 1945, the civilian vehicle production resumed, and we added trucks to the mix in 1950s. We've continued to build trucks ever since that period, including the Ranger, which has been in production for 26 years now. In October of this year, we will have sold 6,651,000 Rangers since it was first introduced. I mean, that is just a fantastic accomplishment. As the years have brought many changes to the plant, we've also seen some difficult shifts in the market segment and by the customers and by the competition, which has led us to the situation we're in today, a very difficult situation, having to close our beloved Twin City Assembly Plant. No matter the business realities, I can assure you our decision has not been an easy one. Most importantly, the impact on the men and women that have made Twin Cities what it is today. I'd like to acknowledge the work of each of these individuals, of current and of past, and thank each of you and your families for giving us all you could to make us what we are today. You're to be commended for never giving up and maintaining the pride, maintaining the quality, and maintaining the culture of the Twin Cities operation. In fact, the men and women of this plant have made over 20% improvement in productivity over the last decade. Not a small effort to accomplish. The Ford Ranger has been ranked above average for reliability by J.D. Powers and Associates and Consumer Reports. And what this great workforce has done over the last few years in quality is continued to achieve best ever levels. I want to personally thank the dedicated workforce for the loyalty, for the commitment to the plant, to the company, and to our customers. You all should be very proud of the professional way that we have all handled this situation, and be proud of the historic production that you have contributed to. Thank you very, very much. I would also like to personally recognize two individuals that have led a variety of efforts to make our workforce the people of choice. They have done this through leading various technical training efforts, through resume writing, through Six Sigma problem-solving training, through a variety of job fairs. This partnership has been made possible by our plant manager, O.J. Alvarado, and by our wonderful chairman, Jim Eagle. And I thank you for your leadership. Because of the history here and because of the strengths of our workforce, Ford is committed to giving back to our community in which we do business. We will continue our involvement in St. Paul long after the doors of this plant close at the end of the year. We are committed to working with the city, and specifically Mayor Coleman and the Site Planning Task Force, so that we can redevelop this property and continue to serve the community that we live in. We want to ensure a positive legacy in Twin Cities, and we want to assure all of you that we will not walk away from this community.
I would now like to introduce someone who has shown great leadership and vision during these challenging times. On behalf of Ford, I want to thank him for his work in ensuring that this site has a bright future. Please welcome the mayor of the great city of St. Paul, Mayor Coleman.
The microphone was set up for OJ, so I was going to pick it up, but there are other pieces attached to it. So I'll just talk a little bit louder, and hopefully everyone can hear me. Bittersweet day in the city of St. Paul. It's been a bittersweet year. And in a couple of weeks, I think the bittersweet will just turn into the sadness as we get to the point where we finally close this plant and the last truck rolls off the line. But I think back to the early 20s when Henry Ford sat on this site and declared it to be one of the greatest sites in the entire country for a facility. He looked at the river, he looked at the transportation network, he looked at the community that surrounded it, and he saw that this was a great location from a lot of logistical standpoints. But what he could never understand and what he never knew, but what has been proven out over the decades since then, was the greatest asset that this plant had going for it was not the river, was not the transportation network. It was the men and women that dedicated their lives to this facility. The men and women that walked through those doors every day, whether it was to build a truck or to build a B-24 or a tank or any of the other product lines that came out of this facility. It's all of you that made this plant what it was, what it has been, and what it's meant to this community. It's all of you that have learned your living here, that have put food on the table for your children, bought homes, and lived your life because what this plant had to offer. You became known as the absolute best workforce in the entire Ford system. Your dedication and your hard work was recognized, and I think that's what makes this moment particularly bittersweet. When all of you have given so much, it is difficult to say goodbye. I think about it's a death. It's a death in the family. It brings sadness. First we were angry, then we were in denial. We tried to bargain, we tried to do different things, but now we have come to acceptance and we understand that the final days of this plant are soon near. But never will the community, will the city of St. Paul ever forget all of you that have worked so hard and given so much to this plant and to Ford and to this community. There is a bright future for this site. For the exact same reason that Henry Ford sat on the site in the 20s and declared it such a wonderful opportunity, that still exists. But just as the river was a part of it, but insignificant compared to the workforce, we know that ultimately it's the men and women, perhaps your children or your grandchildren, that will be a part of the bright future of this site. Pat Harris, as our council member, soon to be departing, but that doesn't mean his interest in the site's going to wane. The City Council, our planning and economic development staff, led by Cecile Bador and others, will make sure that we do everything in our power to see that this site has a bright future, for working men and women to provide for their families, for people to have new homes, to businesses to have new opportunities. This site has been an important part of our community. It will continue to be in the future. But we will never, ever forget the work that you've done. Thank you, thank you, thank you to every one of you that ever walked through this door and punched a time clock. Your work will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Coleman. So I'd like to call up Jim Eagle, Art Weigel, and Mary Culler. So standing to my left is my partner, Jim Eagle, the UAW building chairman. And Art. And Sean is out in the audience as well. They're the other bargainers. So you just heard Jeff, Greg, and Mayor Coleman talk about the past, the present, and the future. There was one common thread weaved in their speeches, and that common thread is the people side of the business. I will share my thoughts of the Twin City Assembly Plant workforce. We have a workforce that is very lean, and it requires a unique organizational structure that is driven by partnerships, strong processes, beliefs, trust, and a shared vision. If I had to define a Twin Cities Assembly Plant employee, it would read like this. A person that has a great attitude, outstanding work ethics, dedication, and a strong quality commitment to the plant, the Ranger product, the company, our customers, and the community. We are an extension of our community, and over the years, we have supported the community through fundraisers for JDRF, March of Dimes, Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, the veterans, Susan B. Komen, the Breast Cancer Walk, Feed My Starving Children, just to name a few. As we approach Job Last, we set several goals very early in the year to, number one, upskill the workforce to prepare them for their next chapter in life. And number two, to leave a legacy that will continue beyond Job Last. To further elaborate on this legacy, please welcome Jim Eagle and Art Weigel.
Well, thank you for coming for this auspicious occasion. I'd just like to reverberate what the international rep, Greg Poet, had to say. Without the retirees, there would have been nothing for us. And for that, I greatly appreciate that because you taught me a lot. Local 879 has left a legacy here and will ever be remembered. We have done fundraisers for our community, in particular in the Vets Committee, in the last 28 years, more than $2 million to different vets groups. That's one of the things that we're very, very proud I don't want to take up too much time, but I just want to tell you something. Local 879 has got the best people.
Thank you very much.